Welcome to tonight's little mini session. Okay, we're going to be talking about Russia today. Now, for some reason, a lot of people were actually telling me that I should start something regarding the issue of Russia and how they have been able to create a lot of their millionaires for the past decade. Okay, now a quick review. How many years is a decade? How many years? A decade is how many years? 10. Okay. What about a century? A century is how many years? 100. Good. What about a millennium? How many years is a millennium? Obviously, 1,000. Okay. Now, let me write it down for you. Millennium means 1,000 years. Okay. So we would all probably live for the next decade, and then we'll live to see the next 2 decades. Are we going to live to see the next century? I don't really think so. Now, I was not really expecting to have such a large crowd of people attend this session. Okay, but we're going to continue anyway, regardless. Now, has anyone ever been to Russia before? Does anybody in the room? Okay, either Ruby, Vicky, Sammy, Aki, Sophie, Brenda, and Lillian. Okay, all ladies tonight. Okay, very interesting. I'm a very lucky man. So, none of you have ever been to Russia before, yes? Well, if you haven't been to Russia before, you can certainly consider taking a trip to either Moscow or St. Petersburg or Kiev. Okay, I believe the capital city of Moscow of Russia, is not Moscow. It's actually Kiev. Okay, we say it's Kiev. Now, what do you know about the modern Russian history? Now, do you know how Russians made money after its departure from the Soviet Union? How hard do you think it is to become a millionaire in the United States in terms of dollars? How about a billionaire? Okay, now, to understand the history of Russia, you would have to know. It used to be called USSR. Now, what does USSR stand for? Anyone? What is the definition for USSR? Now, we all know it's an abbreviation. Okay, it's an abbreviation for what? There is a prize for getting it correct. USSR stands for what? What does it stand for? Okay, very good, Ruby. Okay, I'll give you my autograph if you want it. Now, the Union of Soviet, okay, no N, my bad, Soviet Socialist Republic. Okay, now, the USSR used to consist of countries like Lithuania, okay, what else? What are some others? Georgia, okay, and other small countries, Ukraine, so on and so forth. And somehow it departed from that Soviet. Okay, it departed from that union. Okay, now they were all communist. Okay, so we're all very aware Russia and China and Cuba are the very few countries in the world that are still a communist country. Okay, so what do you know about Russia before we actually begin into our course tonight? What do you know about Russia? We know about caviar. Okay, we know caviar is from Russia. What is caviar, anyway? Caviar. It's black. It's expensive. It's edible. Okay, if you can eat it, we would say it's edible. Okay, let me write it down for you. It's edible. You can eat it, and it tastes pretty good. Okay, it's similar to what the Japanese would eat. Okay, the salmon roe. Okay, now it's basically fish eggs. Okay, caviar. Now, Russia is the largest country in the world, expanding over 1/8 of the Earth's total landmass. Now, it is also the world's largest potential source for minerals and energy resources. Now, Russia has came a long way since the Russian Empire, followed by the Soviet Union to the Russian Federation today. Okay, so it's actually, a federation today. Now, before we talk about Russia's growing number of millionaires and billionaires, let's take a look at its modern history. Okay? Federation, what else is a federation? What exactly is a federation? It's simply an alliance or a group of people. Okay? Now, the modern history of Russia traces back, or you can also say dates back to. Okay, the modern history of Russia dates back to the Russian Revolution and the Civil War between 1917 and 1921. Now, when USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was formed. Now, throughout the entire Cold War, Russia was dominated, okay, by one single political party. Now, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Now, the Soviet Union had a centrally planned economy where everything was basically state-owned instead of owned by the people as intended by communism. Okay, so that's the difference between China. Okay, that's the difference between China and Russia. Okay, if you're talking about